So let's talk about memorials. We may have talked about them in the past, but this is one. Number one, I use a plugin that automatically lets me know, hey, this is within 20 meters of another nomination. That's to help me figure out whether or not this is a duplicate. So that one of the first things I go down is look at to see how close is this to something else. It looks like it's really close to this thing. Clearly, that's not a duplicate of that. If I click here, Shirley Johnston Memorial. Okay, that is a duplicate. They're putting it here, but it is a duplicate there. But so I'm going to ultimately mark this as duplicate, but let's look at what they've talked about here. They call this Shirley Johnson Memorial Terrace, which is interesting because if we look at the POI that it says Shirley Johnston, and if I look at the photo, it says Shirley Johnston, right? So they've spelled the name correctly on the POI that currently exists, while the person here has not spelled the woman's name correctly. Okay. It says this seated terrace was laid in 2015 in order to recognize the memorial of Shirley Johnson, again, misspelling it, a former nurse at Southern Adventist University. And then I go to look at why they think this is important. This site is important because Shirley Johnson cannot be forgotten, except we're talking about forgetting how to spell her name. She was recognized for her outstanding service. Today, this area is frequented as a place to hang out or study. However, people often overlook Shirley Johnson and who she was, and recognizing why the terrace is there cannot be lost. Okay, so if we think about just the logic of this submission, in the supplemental, they're making the case that Shirley Johnston was so important and we cannot forget who this fabulous woman was. Yet in the description, they do nothing to explain who Shirley Johnson was, or Johnston, except say that she was a former nurse. It just doesn't make any sense. If you think this woman was so important that you don't want people to just hang out here and have a picnic here and forget who she was, then you better give me some details on who she was and why she was important and why she cannot be forgotten. Ultimately, it doesn't matter because I'm going to mark this as a duplicate. And if we look at, I don't know. I don't know why. I guess these two things were just submitted around the same time, and one got approved before the other. But this is what I mean by make sure that your nominations make sense. And if you're going to advocate that hard that you shouldn't forget somebody, then you need to actually give us the information on why they shouldn't be forgotten.